I watched the One Piece season 2. I did upload a video about season 1 of One Piece. I don't remember everything that I said, but I know that the biggest gripe that I had with the season 1 of the live action One Piece was that Garp was too prominent of a character. I felt like the animation or the CGI for Luffy's stretchy abilities just didn't really look that great. But overall, I thought like the overarching stories were well written. I think that the changes that they made were good. Here in the second season, we see a lot of that as well. Episode 1 of One Piece live action season 2 kind of hit me in a different way. It felt like it was the weakest episode in the entirety of all of One Piece live action so far. There's supposed to be literally a downpour going on. Like they mentioned that there's a storm on the way, but the entirety of leaving Log Town, they're drenched in a downpour. It makes it a lot more dramatic. It's a lot more intense. I don't know why they just didn't do that here. They absolutely could have. I might be nitpicking, but I feel like it just takes away from it a lot because there's supposed to be this massive storm and it's supposed to, you know, storms, weather such as things like this in One Piece, especially being on a ship and sailing throughout the Grand Line in the East Blue, you're supposed to have a sense of, oh shit, these things are serious, right? The storm is serious. It's getting bad. Like you're supposed to have this kind of mentality of, oh my God, this matters, right? The second biggest criticism about the episode, I'm going to make this Bartolomeo. I think they involved him a little bit too much. Like it's fine that he was there. Obviously he was supposed to be there, but I feel like Luffy interacted with him a little bit too much. Like he was just too prominent of a character. He felt like a main character in the episode, which just didn't really feel relevant at all. I also think that they did a really weird job with the fight against Alvida and Luffy, where like she's got her devil fruit power now and she didn't look that different. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Alvida like was a little weird. It just didn't work as well as I thought that it should have. I think for episode 1, that's where my complaints really stop. I think one of the best scenes in the entirety of the live action so far was in the first episode of season 2. I think it was when you get this, you know, conversation between Garp and Roger where they talk about Ace basically, you know, we're gonna execute you, I've been chasing you, beating your ass all up and down the Grand Line, and Roger talks about his son. It is supposed to happen later on. I think the decision to have it happen here sooner, it shows a lot because they kind of fucked up Garp's like entire character in my opinion, where he like isn't as laid back as he should be. Like he actually gives a shit about his job when in reality he just doesn't. He's just like the strongest Marine. He could just do whatever he wants. I don't know. I feel like the season 1 of the live action just really fucked Garp's like entire character up. So it is kind of nice to see this interaction and kind of bring Garp's character back to being more of what it should be, where he does kind of care. He is going to take care of Ace. As for like Captain Smoker, Tashigi, Sandai Kitetsu, Yobashiri, like all the stuff about the cursed sword, Zoro, Sanji going on his side quest that wasn't really a side quest. It was like a filler episode where he did the competition, the little fish competition with the chefs. Like you could kind of tell that they kind of involved that. Like I think you can literally see the characters from that filler in the background. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. But like Smoker's amazing, Tashigi is amazing. They did a really good job. I think they did a fantastic job. I just think that episode 1 of the live action for season 2 is just absolutely the weakest. Episode 2, like after they enter the Grand Line and they get eaten by Laboon, like I feel like this is a great, like a well-written episode. I love that they showcased Brook so that way, you know, there's more of a connection later on. I love that they showed all the Rumbar pirates and that Crocus wasn't inside the whale. I think it was a good decision to not put him inside of Laboon. I think, especially since they literally reference it at the end of that episode, they're like, maybe you should build a house inside the whale. Like, I think that episode was fine. It seems like Twitter and a lot of people are complaining about how like Luffy was like too cringe when his friends were saved. They came out of the whale and he's like, woo! It's like, bro, just say you don't have any friends, and if you do, you wouldn't be happy that they're not eaten by a whale. Like, oh my God, bro, like what the fuck? Cringing at the fact that bro is just happy that his friends are not dead. Unbelievable. Especially like, you know, before this that Luffy is like an impossible, damn near impossible character to replicate to live action. Like, relax. I would just sit here and glaze fucking episode 2 forever. I don't want to do that. Episode 3, like Whiskey Peak, You know, Zoro kills 100 bounty hunters. Pretty awesome, actually. Like, I think that the choreography is really fun. I like that a lot of it is more practical effects versus like CG effects. And the stuff about the CG effects that I really don't like, besides Luffy's stretching, that I think that they really need to work on, is the fire. I don't know why, but the CGI fire looks like crap. The regular practical effects fire looks amazing. I just like way later on during Drum Island when they're fighting the monsters for Wapol, which I don't know why the fuck Wapol has monsters. That was weird. I didn't like that decision either. When Usopp uses his fireball star, sure shot, and it explodes, it looks terrible. It looks trash. Like, it is so bad. Usopp's fireball star looks so bad. And I'll say that, like, Chopper's transformations, like from his practical to like CG transformations, they also have moments where they look kind of bad, but they have moments where they look pretty good. I think it's just kind of like, that's hard. That's pretty fucking hard to do. I don't know how, if they manage to get to Enies Lobby, which if they get to Enies Lobby, I'm pretty sure that would probably, I think that's where the live action, this is my prediction, my personal prediction is that if the live action is going to get anywhere, it'll probably stop at Enies Lobby, is what I think. But I don't see how they're gonna fucking do Tony Chopper's Monster Point. And that might be a little bit much. That I don't know how they're gonna like possibly do that, but we'll see. You know, we'll see. I'm really excited for Alabasta. All the stuff with Dr. Hiroluke dying, and of course his story is amazing. When does a man die? Does he die when he's shot by a bullet? Does he die from an incurable disease, or when he eats poisonous mushroom soup? No, a man dies when he's forgotten. And he says, I have a marvelous life, blows himself up. Fucking amazing. Like, they did such a good job with this. It's great. Is it the best live action show I've ever seen in my life? No. Do I think it's bad and that it's gonna flop? No, I don't. Like, I think Alabasta's gonna slap. Ace is gonna be really cool, and with Smoker there, I don't know what's gonna happen with Buggy, if they're gonna bring Buggy back, because Buggy had some interactions with Arlong. And I know that Buggy's probably going to be in the next season too, so they might have Buggy interact with some of the characters in Alabasta. That's the one thing that I'm pretty happy about with the One Piece live action, is that they will change things with like the story, like slightly tweak it to make it more digestible for a live action audience. And I think they do a very good job at that. There's two more scenes that I think were the best scenes in the entirety. Okay? The best scenes in the entirety of all of One Piece live action season 2. The one that I said that Garp and Roger talked about Ace kind of, and Roger asked Garp to take care of his son. 2 is when Sanji actually references his mom when talking to Nami when she's ill, after she was bit by the bug and she's being taken care of by Dr. Ine. He basically talks about his actual backstory for a little bit, about how he used to feed his mom, which you're not supposed to hear about until basically Whole Cake Island when you get flashbacks. But I'm really glad they put it there, because it was extremely relevant, because he was taking care of Nami while she was sick versus the same thing that he did for his mother when she was sick. So it was very relevant. It was very important. I think it was a very great place to put that character development. And then 3, the scene where they're doing the reverie. When they do the reverie, as goofy as it is with the, like, you know, some of the characters have like fucking sombrero, you see like literally an Abe Lincoln guy, like as goofy as it is, like it's a very powerful and impactful scene, especially when you see like Dalton describing Vivi and how Vivi was being more mature by not starting conflict with Wapol, knowing that she has a very important role between nations. It was just a very, very well written, very well done season. Obviously they had peak to go off of, but I'm glad that they, you know, they did such a good job. I think I'm not worried about it. I think if it is going to stop at any point, it'll probably stop after Enies Lobby. Pretty sure that they're not going to allow to not do Robin's backstory and Robin's I Want to Live scene. I don't think that they would not do that. So yeah, that was my whole take on One Piece live action. Not my favorite live action ever. Probably close. Yeah, my favorite anime adaptation. Yes. But You might find some things cringe. You might find some things that look bad. I think some things do look bad, and I think some things look fucking magnificent. Like, honestly, I think some of the practical effects, some of the choreography, a lot of what goes on, it looks really good. Thank you. I'll see you in my next one.
I see some dreams will never look back. When treasure tales would fall on track. A fierce crew united with rise.